Most Singapore SME owners are already using AI every single day, and most of them are using it wrong. Not wrong in a dangerous way, just wrong in a small, expensive way that quietly caps how much it can ever do for them. Here is the pattern. You open a chat window, you type a question, you read the answer, you copy the useful bit, you paste it into a document or an email, and then you close the tab. Tomorrow, a similar task comes up, and you do the whole dance again from scratch. That is using one of the most capable tools ever built, like a slightly smarter search box. And the gap between using AI like a search box and using AI like an employee is honestly the single biggest difference I see between the businesses that get a little value out of AI and the ones that get a lot. Let me describe this first level clearly because almost everyone starts here and more importantly, most people never leave. At what I will call level 0, AI lives inside a browser tab. You ask it something, it gives you back some text, and you are the one who has to carry that text everywhere it needs to go. You copy it into your reply, you paste it into your quotation, you retype the parts that did not quite fit your situation. The AI never sees your actual files. It never opens your folders. It never remembers what the two of you worked on last week. It is, in effect, a very clever stranger you consult through a tiny window, one conversation at a time. Useful, genuinely. But notice what is happening. Every task begins at 0, and you personally are doing all of the lifting between the question and the finished work. You are the glue, you are the copy-paste, you are the memory. That is a lot of unpaid admin to be doing on top of running a business. What an employee does, now picture the next level up. Instead of asking a question and then ferrying the answer around yourself, you give the AI access to the actual files on your computer. You describe the whole job in plain English and it does the whole job. Not a paragraph that you then have to find a home for. The finished thing. You point it at your folder of supplier invoices and you say, read all of these and build me one table with the totals broken down by month, and it opens them, pulls the numbers, builds the table, and saves the file where you can find it. That is the entire shift from search box to employee in one sentence. You stop being the courier running back and forth between the tool and the work. You hand over the task and you get back something that is actually done. The question changes from what should I type to what do I want finished, where each one works. Now, I am not going to pretend the search box is useless because both levels have their place. When you have a quick, genuinely one-off question, something like who pays GST on imported services or give me 3 subject lines for this email, the search box is perfect. It is fast, it needs no setup, and you are done in seconds. The search box only breaks down in 3 situations: when the task has more than one step, when it needs to touch your real data, or when it is going to happen more than once. Drafting a single email is a search box job. Going through 40 customer emails and pulling every refund request into one clean list is an employee job. So here is a simple test you can use today. If you would be mildly annoyed to have to do this same thing by hand a second time, it does not belong in the search box. It belongs with the employee. What you hand over, the difference between the two shows up most clearly in what you actually give the AI to begin with. At level 0, you give it a sentence, a question, maybe a paragraph of background that you typed out by hand. And that is the hard ceiling, because the chat box only ever knows what you have personally typed into it. At level 1, you give it 3 things instead. You give it access to your files, so it is working from your real numbers and your real wording, not a generic made-up example. You give it the goal, stated in plain English, exactly the way you would brief a new hire on their first morning. And you give it the rules that matter to you, your format, your tone of voice, the things that must never appear in anything that goes to a customer. The more real context you are willing to hand over, the more the output stops sounding like it came from the internet and starts sounding like it came from your business. What you get back. And then, naturally, what you get back changes just as much. From the search box, you get text on a screen that you still have to go and do something with. You are the last mile. You are the one who turns that text into an actual deliverable. From the employee, you get the deliverable itself, a spreadsheet saved in the right folder, a drafted reply already sitting in your email waiting for a final look, a messy document cleaned up, renamed properly, and put back where it belongs. The work crosses the finish line without you having to carry that final stretch. And here is the thing most people underestimate. That final stretch, the copying, the pasting, the reformatting, the fixing of little things, that is where most of your time actually disappears. Quietly removing that stretch is not a small convenience. It is most of the value, the repeatability gap. Now here is the dimension that almost nobody thinks about when they compare these two. And it is the one that matters most if you are running a business rather than just doing a task. Repeatability. When you use AI like a search box, every single task is a snowflake. You might get a brilliant result on Tuesday, but you cannot reliably reproduce it on Friday because the only place that good prompt and that good little process ever existed was in your head and in a tab you have long since closed. It was never written down. When you use AI like an employee, you can capture the whole job once and then run it again whenever you need it. You set up how the monthly report gets built one time properly, and from then on producing next month's report is one instruction instead of one lost afternoon. Sit with that distinction for a second. The search box gives you a good answer. The employee gives you a repeatable process that you own. What it means for a small team. For a small team, this part is genuinely the whole game. In a 10-person company, there is always that one person who is the only one who actually knows how to do the fiddly recurring thing. Pull the right numbers, format the report the way the boss likes it, chase exactly the right people in the right order, and when that knowledge lives only inside that one person's head, you have two problems at once. You have a bottleneck because nothing moves when they are on leave, and you have a risk because if they leave the company, the knowledge walks out with them. When you instead set the task up as something the AI does directly from your files, you have effectively written the knowledge down in a form that anyone can run. The person who knew how to do it is no longer the only person who can do it. They set it up once, and after that the whole team, or honestly just the business itself, gets the benefit every week. That is how a team of 10 quietly starts to operate like a team of 15. And simple example. Let me make all of this concrete with a hypothetical you will probably recognize. Say you run a small distribution business, and every month you have to reconcile your delivery orders against your invoices. At level 0, you ask the AI how to do that reconciliation. It gives you a perfectly good explanation of the steps, and then you still spend the whole afternoon doing it yourself in a spreadsheet. At level 1, you point it straight at the folder containing this month's delivery orders and invoices. You say match these up and flag anything that does not reconcile, and a few moments later it hands you back a sheet with every mismatch already highlighted. Same underlying AI in both cases, completely different amount of your time and energy spent. The first version taught you how to do the work. The second version actually did the work. Liasan Pafwan Ajedi Edumias says, it is not a person. I do want to be honest here because the word employee can quietly oversell this, and I have no interest in overselling it. This is not a person. It does not have real judgment about your business the way you do. It will make mistakes, and you still have to check its work, especially anywhere real money or real customers are involved. The right mental model is not a senior staff member you trust blindly. It is a capable new hire in their first week, fast, eager, genuinely useful, and very much in need of clear instructions and a quick review before anything they produce goes out the door. The point of this whole comparison is not that AI quietly replaces a member of your team. The point is simply that you can hand it an entire task instead of just a question, and that one change is far bigger than it first sounds. From level 0 to level 1. So the obvious question is how you actually move from the search box to the employee in practice. The good news is that it is smaller than you think, and it is mostly a one-time setup rather than some ongoing technical burden. We put together a completely free step-by-step course that walks you through exactly this jump, with nothing assumed. It covers installing Claude on your own computer, setting up a tool called Walk so the AI is allowed to work with your actual files instead of just chatting, running your very first real project where it reads your own documents and hands back finished work, and then making your first simple skill so that a task you do over and over becomes one you can trigger reliably, the same way every time. No jargon, no prior technical background assumed, just a clear path from level 0 to level 1. To get it, head to aifirstasia.com/level 1. It is free, and it is built specifically for this one jump, the jump from asking AI questions to handing AI work. And if you want more of this kind of thing, practical AI workflows for SME owners, with no hype and no magic tricks, go ahead and subscribe. Because the owners who really win with this are not the ones with the biggest budgets or the fanciest tools. They are simply the ones who stopped treating AI like a search box and started handing it real work.